Have a product video today of our new conventional 260 Moguls. These are scale locomotives designed for use with conventional operation only. They're available in 8 different road names. What we have here is a 6-11268 Strasburg Railroad, cab number 89. They're also available in Rock Island under product number 6-11269, cab number 750. Product number 6-11270, Great Northern, cab number 453. 6-11271, Chesapeake and Ohio, cab number 49. 6-11272, Atchison, Topeka and Santa Fe, cab number 573. 6-11273, Central Pacific, cab number 1470. 6-11290, Bethlehem Steel, cab number 28. And finally 6-11291, Weyerhaeuser Lumber, cab number 288. In the box we received the manual, 2 replacement traction tires, the wrench for removing the side rod screws so you can put the traction tires on, smoke fluid funnel, and the smoke fluid pipette. So before we get the locomotive on the track, we want to make sure that we lubricate it by simply taking our needlepoint oiler and oiling the axles where they go through the bearings in the frame. Just a small dab of oil on each axle on either side will make a big difference in preventing any type of squeaking on this locomotive. Also want to make sure that we oil the axles where they go through the pilot truck. Oil the axle on the collector. And then we also want to oil the side rod screws here, where the side rod and the side rod screws are. Also the eccentric crank. This again will prevent any type of annoying squeaking while we're running the engine. And just a light dab of oil on those locations. As you can see, the locomotive is equipped with a smoke on-off switch on the engineer side of the cab on the bottom. Obviously in the smoke position, the smoke unit is on. In the no smoke position, smoke unit is off. And then there's also a run lock switch for the conventional reverse unit control. In the run position, it will cycle through all 3 directional states. In the lock position, you can lock it to run in one direction at all times. Before we get the engine on the track, we're going to go ahead and lubricate the axles on the tender trucks. This is done by just placing a small dab of oil on the ends of the axles where they insert into the bronze bearing in the side frame. And go ahead and do the same for the other side. And then just a drop of oil on the axle for the collector to prevent that from squeaking while we're running. The 260 Moguls feature a magnetic coupler on the back of the tender. It may be necessary for you to slightly bend the uncoupler plunger just a slight bit using a pair of pliers to force the pin that holds the knuckle closed into the coupler a little bit more. When we took this unit out of the box, there was a little bit of gap in between the plunger and the coupler, which prevented that knuckle from staying closed when we were running it. So you want to make sure that if you do experience that you just put a slight bend from roughly this hole in the plunger upward so that the magnetic armature has just a slight bend to it, and the coupler will hold firm. I want to take one quick second here and show you where the volume control is. The volume control is underneath the water hatch on the deck of the tender. Just a small flathead screwdriver will allow you to adjust that volume up and down. These locomotives do not have a sound on-off switch, so if you wish to run it without the sound, Just make sure that you turn the volume pot all the way down to 0 and the sounds won't play. Before we get the locomotive running, we want to make sure that we prime the smoke unit. So to do this, we're going to use the smoke fluid pipette that came with the locomotive in the styrofoam. The amount of smoke we want to put in is roughly about halfway to the first line on the pipette. Just put the pipette all the way down the stack as far as it will go. Squeeze in the fluid, give it a few extra puffs to clear the stack. Make sure there's no meniscus on the bottom of the smoke unit stack. These 260 Moguls feature die-cast tender trucks, die-cast tender shell, die-cast boiler, die-cast frame, a front and rear lamp that are illuminated when power is applied, a fan-driven smoke unit that puffs in sync with the chuffing. They do have rail sounds. I'm going to go ahead and get this model running, but before we do, I want to make sure we turn the volume down. The volume pot or volume control is underneath the water hatch, the back of the tender. Just going to turn that down slightly so you can hear my voice over the engine running. Just going to use a CW80 transformer and apply power. After a few seconds of running, the smoke unit turns on, puffs in sync with the chuffing. Give you an example of the whistle. The bell. Press direction. Unfortunately, due to the small size of the tender, it's impossible to put a battery inside there with the speaker enclosure we have and the soundboard that's in it. Other than a slight interruption from the interruption of the track power, slight interruption of the sound system, it's a great little sound system. Here it is again, whistle and neutral.
Dispatcher here, you are cleared outbound, over. Copy that. I have a clear signal. Out.
A short blast of the whistle when the train sits at idle or in neutral. You'll get a quick tower comm announcement. Again, the bell. Very crisp sound. These locomotives also feature an infrared tether between the engine and tender on the drawbar. They're available now at your dealer. We hope that you'll check these conventional locomotives out for the money. They're a fantastic scale piece that will provide years of reliable operation. Great engine for the price. Thank you.